Welcome everyone to our deep dive today, and we're going to be exploring the work of Sri Suresh Kumar Makam, disciple of Sri Raghavendra Rao Sahab. And his book really dives deep into this whole idea of human potential. Specifically, this untapped power that we have within us and how we can access that power through this really unique approach to meditation and personality development. And right at the beginning, there's this disclaimer that I found so interesting. It says, cleanse your manas with practice of sadhana and then go through literature, otherwise reality will be lost upon you. So what do you think Sri Suresh is trying to get at with this? And how does it tie into this larger theme of unlocking our potential?
Yeah, it's a powerful statement, right? It seems to suggest that, this book isn't just about information, it's like a guide to a different way of being.
Right.
And, manas refers to the mind, and sadhana is essentially spiritual practice. So he's saying that we need to prepare our minds through practices like meditation, to really even begin to grasp the deeper reality he's pointing to.
So it's like he's saying, don't just read this with your intellect, but like experience it with your whole being.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's a call to really engage with this material actively, to apply it to our own lives and see how it transforms our understanding of ourselves and the world. And this is really key to unlocking our potential, because so much of it, according to Sri Suresh, is dormant, precisely because we're not approaching life with the right mindset.
Reminds me of that quote, the mind is everything, what you think you become.
Huh.
And it seems like Sri Suresh is saying, we need to cultivate a certain mental and spiritual state to actually access the potential that he's talking about.
Yeah, absolutely. And it really speaks to this idea that our potential isn't just some fixed quantity, It's something that we cultivate and nurture through our actions, thoughts, and beliefs.
That brings us to another really fascinating concept in Sri Suresh's work. This whole idea that despite, all of our technological advancements, humans are only using a tiny fraction of our inherent mental and spiritual power.
Right.
Like somewhere between 2 and 5%. Why do you think he makes such a bold claim?
Well, it's a provocation for sure, but I think it serves a purpose. It forces us to question our assumptions about what's possible for human beings. I mean, think about it. We've created these technologies that allow us to communicate across continents, explore outer space, even, manipulate the very building blocks of life. And yet we struggle with things like inner peace, genuine connection, and fulfilling our own potential. So what Sri Suresh is suggesting here is that there's this vast reservoir of untapped power within us that we're simply not accessing because we're so focused on the external world.
So we're so busy building outward that we've neglected our inner landscape?
Precisely. And that neglect has consequences. I mean, we experience stress, anxiety, this kind of dissatisfaction, the sense that something's missing, even when we achieve external success. So Sri Suresh is pointing to the possibility of a different kind of success, one that comes from aligning ourselves with our true nature and tapping into this immense power that lies within.
So if we're only using like a tiny percentage of our potential, what is all the rest of it doing? Like, is it just sitting there dormant, waiting to be activated?
That's a great question, and one I think Sri Suresh would answer with a resounding yes. He believes that this untapped potential takes many forms. It's the source of our creativity, our intuition, compassion, and even our capacity for love and joy. But it's often obscured by our limiting beliefs, our negative thought patterns, and the constant distractions of the external world.
So it's not like it's missing. It's more like we've lost touch with it. We've forgotten how to access it.
Exactly. It's like we've built this wall around ourselves, and now we need to find the key to unlock that door.
Okay, so we have this incredible potential within us, but we're not using it. How does Sri Suresh propose that we bridge this gap? Like, what's the key to unlocking this door?
Well, he introduces this concept of the journey from person to personality. And now this might sound a little confusing at first, but it's not about changing who we are fundamentally. It's about evolving into a more expanded version of ourselves.
I'm intrigued. Can you break that down a little bit further? Like, what's the distinction between person and personality in this context?
Okay, so think of it this way. As a person, we are defined by our limitations, our ego, our fears, our conditioning. But as a personality, we tap into our potential. We express our unique gifts and talents, and we become this force for positive change in the world. It's about moving from a place of reactivity to creativity, from a sense of lack to a sense of abundance.
So it's like we're all born with these raw materials, but it is up to us to shape and mold them into something extraordinary.
That's a great analogy, and Sri Suresh provides a roadmap for this process, a set of tools and practices that we can use to cultivate our personality. and unlock our true potential.
And this roadmap, I'm guessing, leads us to the heart of Sri Suresh's teachings, meditation. But he doesn't advocate for just any kind of meditation, does he? There's something unique about his approach.
You're right. He focuses on meditation based upon the heart. And this is where it gets really interesting. It's not just about quieting the mind or achieving a state of relaxation. It's about connecting with a deeper source of wisdom and power within ourselves.
So more than just stress reduction, this is like a pathway to transformation.
Exactly. And the heart in this context isn't just a physical organ, you know? It represents our deepest essence, our capacity for love, compassion, and intuition.
Okay, so we've talked about the limited use of our potential, this interesting concept of person versus personality, and this unique approach to heart-based meditation.
Oh.
But how does it all tie together? How does Sri Suresh see meditation as this bridge between our current limitations and our full potential?
That's a great question, and one that I think we'll start to unpack as we dive deeper into the specifics of his meditation technique and its profound impact on our minds, emotions, and even our perception of reality itself.
Yeah, I'm ready to dive in. Let's do it.
You know what's fascinating is that Sri Suresh doesn't just, tell us to sit and empty our minds. He actually provides these specific techniques and visualizations that actively engage our minds and help us to cultivate those dormant qualities that we were talking about.
That's really interesting because, I've tried meditation before, and I always struggle with that whole empty your mind thing. It just feels impossible. My thoughts are always racing. So how does Sri Suresh address that?
Well, he acknowledges that, right? That the busy mind is a very common obstacle, especially, in our modern world. But he offers a reframing that I think is really helpful. So instead of seeing our thoughts as the enemy, he encourages us to see them as tools.
Tools. Like how can our thoughts, which often feel so scattered and chaotic, how can they be tools for transformation?
He suggests that instead of trying to suppress or control our thoughts, we simply observe them. We become aware of their patterns, the rhythms, the stories they tell. And through this observation, we start to create a separation between ourselves and our thoughts. We realize we are not our thoughts. We are the observer of our thoughts.
Oh, that's an interesting distinction.
Yeah.
I can see how that would be empowering. Because if we're not our thoughts, then we have a choice about which ones we engage with and which ones we let pass by.
Exactly. And this is where the heart comes in. By shifting our awareness to the heart center, we begin to connect with this deeper level of consciousness. We access a space of stillness and clarity that lies beneath the surface, of our busy minds.
So it's not about emptying the mind completely. It's more about shifting our focus to a different center of awareness.
Precisely. And from this heart center, we can begin to cultivate those qualities that are essential for unlocking our potential. Things like compassion, intuition, and this deep sense of connection, to ourselves and the world around us.
Okay, that makes sense conceptually. But what does this actually look like in practice? What are some of the techniques that Sri Suresh recommends for this heart-based meditation?
Well, he suggests, finding a comfortable posture, whether it's sitting or lying down, and bringing your attention to your breath. Feel the sensation of the breath entering and leaving your body. Use the breath as an anchor to ground you in the present moment.
So starting with something as simple as the breath, but I'm guessing it's not just about breathing. There's more to it than that.
You're right. Once you've established that connection with your breath, you can bring your attention to your heart center. Now, this might be visualizing a point of light in the center of your chest, or simply feeling the warmth and expansion in that area.
It's almost like we're creating this inner sanctuary, this place of peace and stillness amidst the chaos of our daily lives.
Yeah, that's a beautiful way to put it. And as we spend time in this inner sanctuary, we begin to cultivate this sense of detachment from our thoughts and emotions. We start to see them as these passing phenomena, like clouds moving across the sky, rather than getting caught up in their drama.
It's about creating space, a sense of perspective.
Yeah.
We're not trying to eliminate our thoughts and emotions. We're just learning to relate to them differently.
Exactly. And this shift in perspective has profound implications. Sri Suresh describes how, as we continue to practice heart-based meditation, we begin to experience a number of benefits, both internally and externally.
I'd love to hear more about those benefits. I think, a lot of people associate meditation with stress reduction and relaxation, which are definitely valuable. But it seems like Sri Suresh is pointing to something even deeper than that.
He is. He talks about how meditation can enhance our concentration, improve our memory, boost our creativity. It can also help us to regulate our emotions, become more resilient in the face of challenges. and develop a greater sense of empathy and compassion for ourselves and others.
That's quite a list. It sounds like meditation in Sri Suresh's view is not just a personal practice, but something that can have this ripple effect on the world around us.
You're picking up on a key theme here. Sri Suresh believes that as we transform ourselves internally, we inevitably contribute to positive change in the world. He sees meditation as a powerful tool for social transformation and for creating a more just and compassionate world.
I love that idea, that our inner work isn't just about us, it's about creating a better world for everyone.
Exactly. And this brings us back to that concept of the journey, from person to personality. Sri Suresh suggests that through heart-based meditation, we can cultivate the qualities that are essential, not only for our own well-being, but for the well-being of the entire planet.
Okay, I'm really starting to see how all these pieces fit together.
Yeah.
We start with this recognition that we're using a tiny fraction of our potential. Then we embark on this journey of transformation, moving from this limited sense of self to this more expanded personality, characterized by, compassion, creativity, and a deep connection to our hearts. And this journey is fueled by the practice of heart-based meditation, which allows us to access those dormant qualities within us and bring them into the world.
Beautifully articulated. And this is where the rubber meets the road, right? It's one thing to talk about these concepts, but it's another thing entirely to embody them in our daily lives.
So how do we take these insights off the page and into the world? How do we actually live from this place of expanded potential and heart-centered awareness?
That's the million-dollar question, and one that I think Sri Suresh would answer by saying, it's an ongoing process, a lifelong journey of exploration and discovery.
And this journey, I'm guessing, involves more than just sitting on a cushion and meditating. It requires us to integrate these principles into every aspect of our lives.
Precisely. And this is where Sri Suresh's work gets really practical. He offers specific guidance on how to cultivate these qualities in our relationships, our work, and our engagement with the world.
So embodying these principles in everything we do, from the way we interact with our loved ones, to the way we approach our careers, to the way we contribute to our communities.
Exactly. It's about becoming living embodiments of compassion, creativity, and heart-centered awareness.
This has been such a rich and inspiring conversation. I feel like we've covered so much ground, and yet I'm left wanting to explore even further.
And that's the beauty of Sri Suresh's work. It's a constant invitation to dive deeper, to explore this boundless potential within ourselves, and discover the transformative power of living from the heart.
As we wrap up our deep dive into the work of Sri Suresh, I'm really struck by this idea that we're not just these passive recipients of our potential. It's something that we actively cultivate and shape through our choices and actions.
Yeah, absolutely. Sri Suresh really challenges us to move beyond these limitations that we often place on ourselves. And he invites us to step into this more expansive view of what's possible for human beings, both individually and collectively.
Almost like we've been given this blank canvas, and we've been told we can paint any masterpiece we can imagine.
That's a beautiful analogy. And the tools for creating that masterpiece, they lie within us. Sri Suresh provides this framework for accessing those tools through practices like heart-based meditation and conscious living.
But it's not just about personal transformation, is it? There's this really profound connection between our inner work and the state of the world around us.
That's right. Sri Suresh emphasizes that as we cultivate qualities like compassion, empathy, and wisdom within ourselves, those qualities naturally radiate outward, influencing our relationships, our communities, and ultimately the world as a whole.
It's like that ripple effect, One single drop of water can create waves that expand outward. And similarly, our individual transformation can contribute to this collective shift towards a more just, compassionate, and sustainable world.
Yeah, and that's what makes Sri Suresh's work so relevant and timely, We're living in a world that's facing these unprecedented challenges, and it's so easy to feel overwhelmed or powerless. But Sri Suresh reminds us that we each have the potential to be these agents of change, starting with ourselves.
So it's not about waiting for somebody else to fix the world's problems. It's about recognizing our own power to make a difference, however small it may seem.
Exactly. It's about embodying the change that we wish to see in the world, living from a place of love, compassion, and conscious awareness, and inspiring others to do the same.
This has been such a thought-provoking deep dive. Sri Suresh's insights offer this fresh perspective on human potential and a practical path for actually unlocking it.
What resonates most with me is his emphasis on the heart as this source of wisdom and power. It's a reminder that true transformation begins, not with the mind, but with the heart.
I couldn't agree more. So for our listeners who are intrigued by Sri Suresh's work and want to kind of explore further, what would you recommend as a next step?
Well, I highly recommend diving into his book. It's filled with practical exercises and visualizations, insightful stories that can guide you on your journey. And even if you've never meditated before, Sri Suresh offers these really clear and simple instructions that make this practice accessible to everyone.
So it's about taking that first step, however small it may be, and trusting in the transformative power of this path.
Exactly. And remember, the journey of self-discovery and transformation is an ongoing one. There's no finish line. It's about embracing the process of growth and evolution.
Yeah, it's about becoming these lifelong learners, always seeking to expand our awareness, deepen our understanding, and live in greater alignment with our true nature.
Beautifully said. And on that note, I want to thank you all for joining us on this deep dive into the work of Sri Suresh.
I hope this episode has sparked your curiosity and inspired you to explore your own potential for transformation.
And until next time, may you all find peace, joy, and fulfillment on your journey of self-discovery.
Thanks for listening.